I'm trying to avoid that one beam of light. You see that? So apologies if I'm off center. I'm going to offer a couple of practical, mundane readings with the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelation Edition. The timestamps for different types of readings will be in the video description box. I've changed all the names, but the fact patterns, scenarios, and the questions presented are all based on real events, real people. My first reading will be for Bob. Bob wants a general reading. So because he doesn't have a specific question in mind, I'm going to demonstrate by using the opening of the four worlds from the opening of the key. This is just that first part of the first operation. And the way I have used this deck is I actually incorporate all three key zeros. I choose one of the three key zeros before I begin to be the significator for Bob based on his question. In this case, it's a general reading, so I'm going to go with the seeker, the center of the three key zeros. So the seeker will be the significator card among the three key zeros for Bob. I'm using an 80 card deck rather than the 78 classic of tarot. And so it includes the initiate and the keeper. So if those two cards come up, they represent different facets of Bob. The initiate I see as sort of a lower register facet of him, and I'll talk about what that means to me if it comes up. And the keeper I see as an upper register of him, different levels of consciousness within Bob. Okay. So first what I'm going to do is cut the cards. Let me see if I can show you. Okay. So I'm going to cut the deck into 4 card piles. And I'm going to start looking for the significator card for Bob, which was the seeker. Okay, so this is the fire card pile. Oh no, you can see my pajama pants. That's a little bit embarrassing. Okay, so what I would say is it seemed like work before in the recent past, career-wise, things were a little tough, but things are looking pretty good right now. So I'm not too worried about Bob's career. Okay, this is the keeper. And not even funnier is the keeper, that higher register of himself is in here, the higher self, higher consciousness is in here. I also saw the chariot card. So there's, I mean, just in terms of getting my emotional impressions, oh, the initiate. Okay. Oh, no, I didn't want the initiate either. Sorry. Okay. Not this card pile. So this looks okay. I'm looking for the seeker. Okay. Love-wise, I have the 10 of orbs on top, so things look okay there. Let's see, what else do we want? Okay, so things look okay there as well. Love and relationships, the domestic sphere, family, air. We have the Hanged Man on top. We're looking for the keeper number. So I also see that in terms of having a very clearly defined sense of his life purpose, he might be feeling in suspension. Okay, finally. Oh, the seeker. So the seeker is at the very, is in the earth card pile. So we're looking at money, finance issues, things related to the physical world of his resources, access to resource. It can also be physical health sometimes. Sometimes health issues can come up in either the fire or earth card pile, just depending on the scenario. The topmost card is the King of Swords or Archangel Commander in the Spirit Keepers Tarot. Let me move you back up so you can see. All right. So what I would say is the place, Bob, for you to focus on right now is money matters. I think there might be issues with just how you're calculating your savings, making sure that your math is correct. I think the reason I say that is because I see the Archangel Commander. There's a sense of warrior spirit, calculation, strategy. And if I'm applying that concept of, you know, the warrior spirit, you have a Templar. In fact, that is on the cover, or on the, that's the face of the King of Swords. So my sense of Templars, remember how they always talk about the Templars being the first corporation, right? You know, because they kind of were the first banking, the first sort of international banking system. And so funny that that comes up as the topmost card for the earth pile. where you need to focus on because of the secret card that came up. Yeah, so money matters is the place to focus on right now. I would say there's something, maybe the numbers don't look right. The swords I always associate with the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So the numbers don't look right. Look into the accounting. And that's a very quick, easy, simple, under 5-minute reading for Bob when Bob did not have a question. Now, if Bob wants to follow up and he has more questions, then we can dig deep and dive into some of these cards. But for the purposes of this video, I'm trying to show really quick, simple, practical readings. Going deep into this might not be as helpful as if I went surface level for multiple different types of subject matter. So we're moving on. Let's do a reading for Kate. Kate is single right now. I'm going to show you how I do readings a little bit differently, where I even talk about this in Holistic Tarot. This is the way I was trained, but I don't do it this way anymore. So what Holistic Tarot says and the way I was trained, and to be fair, this is the correct way to do it, the proper, appropriate way to do it, is you want to be very thoughtful about the phrasing of the question. The tarot reader should really help and be proactive in terms of assisting the querent with how to phrase a question so they get the response that they want. People think that the question should be more open-ended and should be very narrow in terms of just open-ended and narrow, what? Right. But just you want to ask a very specific question. I used to do it that way. I don't do it that way anymore. I'm perfectly okay with a querent who rambles at me, doesn't even know if they necessarily have a question, but just needs to talk about what their problems are. And then I try to read between the lines and discern what it is. And also I try to incorporate and absorb all the emotions that the person is giving off while they're rambling, and fold the emotions into the card reading to see what the cards respond to, how the cards respond to the emotions that that person is giving off. And that tends to be a reading. So anyway, the reason I say that is because in this actual reading, Kate has asked me, okay, well, I'm single right now and I've been single. I don't know what's in the horizon. I can't see, Kate is cis and straight. So Kate wants to know, like, I want a guy, a who, what, where, when, why, and how of the guy. I don't know how many of those questions you can answer for me. Just answer as much as you can about the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the next guy, the next prospective romance, the next good, good love partner that I can be with. Okay, so one thing I normally do is I do the 4 operations, not the 4 operations, sorry, the opening of the 4 worlds every single time I do a reading. People who have gotten readings from me in the past know this. I always do it. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to think of the question, fold it into the cards, and answer her question. So because she asked who, what, when, why, and how, I'm going to just try to pull cards, one for each of those, and see what comes up. But before I do that, what I consider to be the most important part as a reader, this part, shuffling, focusing, centering, grounding, pulling in the energies from above, because again, in a previous video, I talked about how I don't see myself as a fortune teller. I don't do fortune telling. I see myself as performing divination. And for me, that's an important distinction, because I do fortune telling some of the times. When I do fortune telling, my approach is very different. When I'm doing divination, it's not coming from me. Well, the way I perceive it, the way I approach the operation is that it doesn't come from me. So I need to take a moment to really try to be a beacon, right? Make sure my beacon is on, make sure the signal is wide open and receiving, if that makes sense. And that's very important if I'm doing divination. If I'm trying to use psychic ability and I'm operating as a fortune teller, that's not as important. It's not important at all. Again, this is how I work. Everybody's different. I even said my mom does not draw any distinctions whatsoever between fortune telling and divination. So it really is up to you. Now back to Kate. So with this one, I am not going to use a significator card. All 3 of the key zeros will represent different facets of Kate if they come up in her reading. Okay, so, all right, Kate, what's in it for you? I really want you to find that perfect guy, even though the perfect guy doesn't exist, but you know what I'm saying? Spirit knows what I'm talking about. I say the perfect guy. I say soulmate, but we all know what I really mean. So you know what's in my heart, Spirit. You know what I'm asking. All right. So let's try to help Kate, okay? Kate really needs some advice. Come forward, please. This is important. Kate's a really good friend of mine. She needs help. All right. Not help in the bad. Oh my gosh. If Kate is watching, I don't mean you need us. Kate's a good friend. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. And she'd probably be like, yeah, I do need help. So, okay. All right. Let me hold this down so you can follow along. All right. Once more. Okay, so first I will call out for your purposes the cards that I've pulled, and then I will tell you why I think what I think. Okay, so for the purposes of those watching, the cards pulled, I pulled 6 cards: who, what, where, when, why, and how. I got the 4 of Cups, 5 of Cups, and 4, and I did, these cards are well shuffled. So the fact that 2 numbers show up in, consecutively, I always pay attention when that happens. I see it as synchronicities. Anytime there's a synchronicity in the reading, it's a sign to pay closer attention. Anyway, so 4 of Cups, 5 of Cups. I have the King of Pentacles, King of Discs. In the SKT, it's the Archangel of Mysteries. So I'm reading it very differently from classical tarot court cards. This is more of an angelic figure that's coming through. And then oh my gosh, not only do I have the Pentacles court, the King, I also have the Pentacles court, the Page. So I'm going to pull a card at the end of this. There's something blocking Kate. So there's a huge block here. And that's why we have a messenger card, an emissary, the Page, coming through rather than a direct message from Spirit and Beyond. The Hermit card, the Erudite in the Spirit Keepers Tarot, and the Death card, Key 13, Reaper. Okay. So how am I going to, well, I don't know the answer. All right. So how am I going to explain? Well, what I would say to Kate is, sweetheart, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. I think there's a reason right now. It's just a good time to be single. I know it's just so hard to be by yourself. Like it's so hard. When I was single, all I wanted to do was be in a relationship. And I couldn't even focus on and appreciate the cool things in my life, my friendships, my girlfriends. I couldn't really appreciate my career, my skyrocketing career. There are things I couldn't really appreciate while I was single. But it's hard. Okay, so I think that here's the thing. I don't see any good apples. I just see a whole bunch of toads in the horizon. So even if you push fate and you force the situation, you go on, what's that thing called? Tinder? I don't even know. I'm sorry. Like, is it called Tinder? Whatever. So even if you go on those dating apps and you try to force the situation, like in your horizon, I just don't see good apples, and you're just going to get into a really bad, toxic, emotionally draining relationship. He's going to get more out of the relationship than you will. You're going to leave depleted. Like, why? I think it's better for you to be, oh God, I'm so sorry. I hate being the deliverer of bad news. And here's another thing. I think you didn't ask about your career, but I think your career is like going places. And so if you get into a relationship right now, I feel like you might get into a relationship with a guy who is going to ask you to make too many concessions and sacrifices. For those who are watching this and wondering where I'm getting that from the 5 of Cups. And so I just think it would make more sense to focus on yourself, be super selfish, like really selfish, be like me, what's the best for me, what's in my best interest. Don't try to do that whole tempering, balance, compromise thing, which you're supposed to do in a relationship. So if you were already in a relationship, I would be telling you to do the whole concession, balance, sacrifice thing. But when it comes to where you are right now, the worst advice somebody could be giving you, especially in your particular state. So me, selfish, 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 focus on yourself. For those who are watching, another reason that I'm talking about this is because the Five of Cups was right next. I don't know if I can put it in the right order on screen, but it looked like it looked like she is, closely guarding over, like watching kind of like that over this card. And so because of the way it was positioned, first the Five of Cups shows up. You know, if you're a seasoned tarot reader, you know what the Five of Cups means, that whole spilled milk vibe. Then you have the Archangel of Mysteries. She's kind of like, oh, pay attention. She immediately came up after I pulled the Five of Cups, Four of Cups, Five of Cups, boom, King of Mysteries. Kate, be by yourself right now. You're also in a transition phase. That's the whole death card that came up in the end. Okay, so who, be by yourself right now. I don't see anything good in your horizon. I think any offers are going to be bad offers. So just focus inward, focus on yourself. I just don't see a good relationship. I don't see any good prospects, no good contenders. This friend of yours, this BFF of yours does not approve. I already know. Whoever you bring to take me out to go eat dinner with, I do not approve. No. Really focus on your career. I think something incredible is about to happen to your career prospects. Promotion, advancement, some offer or opportunity of leadership. You're going to be part of leadership. So like, come on, I'd rather do that. I'm going to pull a final card for you later. I think right now the best thing to do is to kind of focus on yourself, be, independent woman. Come on, I really think that's great for you. And the good news I would actually say is you're in a transition phase. I don't see this being a permanent position. You're not going to die a spinster, Kate. You're not going to die a spinster. Things will get better. Things will be fine. Right now is not the time for a relationship, but I promise you, like the cards are saying, things will be fine. This is not a permanent state of affairs. You're single now, but you're going to find a great relationship. There's light in the horizon. It's coming up ahead. I even see the erudite, the hermit card with that light looking, I just see good things. I promise, just not right now. Okay. I forgot that there was that page, the Herald, Page of Orbs, that Herald of the Veil. So I'm going to pull an extra card. And one thing I will do is, let's say, I have access to the I Ching Book of Changes. What I'm also going to do is use the Herald of the Veil as the lower trigram. And the second card I'm going to pull is going to be the upper trigram. And I'm going to pull an I Ching Oracle reading for Kate. Okay, what is the extra message? I focus on the Herald of the Veil. I feel that earthy energy. Okay, something's coming through. Okay, the burden one, 10 of Wands. So, okay, I see this as Spirit acknowledging that I didn't give you the answer you wanted to hear, but it's the answer you need to hear. The offerings and blessings that you are going to receive are not in the subject area you want. You are looking for blessings and offerings in the area of love and relationships. That's not where you're getting it. Spirit is giving you the blessings and prosperity and the achievement and the happy ending that you want in the area of your career. And to be completely honest, I take it. It looks really good. What's coming looks really good. I would take it. For those of you watching now who want to see how to do a bonus I Ching reading with that, so there is this page spread. You'll have to look for it in the Book of Maps. There's this page spread. The reason I say that is because these page numbers may or may not be off. I don't know which version of the Book of Maps I'm holding up for you. I had to print out multiple prototypes and test copies, so at this point I don't know which copy this one is. But this page spread, go here. So the Page of Orbs is mountain. The lower trigram is mountain. And the 10 of Scepters is thunder. So we're looking for thunder over mountain. Then there is this page in the Book of Maps that you can go to. And you'll see lower trigram, upper trigram, how to read it. So I look for thunder along the top because thunder was the top upper trigram. That was the 10 of Wands. And then the Page of Orbs was mountain. So I look this way, lower trigram for mountain. So thunder is up here, upper trigram. Mountain is down here. So I go here, make sure I do it. Thunder, mountain, thunder, mountain. 62, the details. hexagram 62, the details. Then you just start flipping and go to hexagram 62. Pay attention to details. The sage, the junzi, is humbler than the humble, expressing more sorrow than the sorrowful, and is more frugal than the frugal. So I would just read the entire oracle. And one of the things you can do if you're doing a reading for somebody is just cut and paste. Cut and paste the entire short form oracle and give it to them. Give them a copy of the short form oracle, this whole paragraph that you see, because it's something for them. I feel like it's really useful. My experience with these types of short form oracles is a lot of times, yes, you initially get that impression and you know what it's talking about, but every day as days go by and as you meditate and gaze and think about the oracle message, new realizations come to fruition. And so it's really important, if you are reading for somebody else, to just cut and paste and give them a copy of the short form oracle. It's going to be very instructive and provide a lot of wisdom and guidance and counsel for them for the days, weeks, months to come. John and Lou have been in a relationship for 3 years, but Lou is feeling like, I don't know what's going on. He's saying that it's been really difficult with John. They've been together for a while, 3 years, like I said, but like he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't want to articulate he doesn't even know what question to ask really, because he doesn't want to say, are we going to stay together? He doesn't even want to ask that in a sense, right? Like he doesn't know what to ask, but he just knows that his hands kind of go up and he feels lost and overwhelmed and just not sure where this is going. He kind of feels like, there's just these blocks between John and Lou, and he just wants some guidance from spirit, some clarity from spirit. And I'm like, okie doke, it's fine. I don't need a question. Let's just focus on you and John and the feeling. Let's sit with that emotion. This is one of the reasons I like readings in person. That's just me. People can do online readings. I do offer online readings. I offer written readings, email readings. But if you're asking me for my personal preference is readings in person across the table where I can sit face to face with somebody. Just personal preference. Anyway, so, right. And the reason for that is because I can mirror their emotions. It's easier for me to copy paste psychically. I can just kind of like take their emotions and just kind of put it in me and just kind of like occupy who they are for a moment. And it's just easier. Whereas if it's virtually, for me, I have to work a little harder at it. I have to try a little harder. I have to exert more mental energy, I feel like. Again, just everybody's different. Everybody does this differently. Just telling you about myself. Okay. Give Lou some clarity. What's going on here? Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is just pull 3 cards. Okay. I got let me make sure you can see. Pull 3 cards. All right. Herald. All right. So you have a watery spirit coming through. What is that message? Give me the download of the message. What's coming through? Herald of the Waters. Inspire the prodigy. What's that about? Okay. Oh my gosh. So you have Page of Cups, and then the card that you pull is the Queen of Cups. Isn't that interesting how that works out? The synchronicity. So you have a messenger from the world of water, and then once I open the door and invite through the gateway, who comes through is the Ivory Shield, the Queen of Cups. We have major arcana cards. Otherwise, you have the Moon card and you have the Emperor. Okay. When there's news like this, and they're not somebody I'm super close to, like Kate, if Kate was a close friend, I tend to be more blunt. If it's someone I'm not super, super close to and somebody who is emotionally vulnerable, I will be more thoughtful about how I want to talk about what I see. I think John takes up too much space. And I don't even know if he realizes. I think John thinks he runs the town. Like he comes from a good place almost. I mean, like I wouldn't say he comes from a bad place, to be completely honest. And I don't even know if he knows he's doing this. And I don't even know if he feels like you don't feel like you are part of the decision-making process. I kind of get the sense that he likes to make the decision. He domineers, he's very domineering, he's very forceful, and he's making you feel like there's no room for your voice, your opinion. Even when you guys have conversations about ideologies or what's like, even just regular everyday conversations, he almost doesn't let you have your own opinion. It almost feels like he's condescending toward your opinion, and that's causing a lot of emotional insecurity inside of you. It's making you feel like a loss of a sense of self. The place to focus on right now, I think heart-centered consciousness, your heart chakra, like heart emotion stuff, personal emotional well-being is really important because of some of the things that have been going on in this relationship with John. I'm not saying it's a bad relationship or a healthy one. I'm not going to talk about that just yet. I'm just saying that I feel like this guy takes up too much space. He's not allowing you to blossom, to kind of be who you are. And that's why I feel there is, the emotional shield is coming through. For those of you who are watching this video and now remembering the previous videos, and I was talking about the court cards and my intentions for the shields, the queen cards, she leaped out. You saw how the reading proceeded, right? So she kind of leaped out of the reading to say, hey, I need to protect, I need to safeguard. Lou has a situation, I need to protect his emotions, I need to protect his emotional sphere, I need to protect his heart. We need to put some, maybe basically we need to bubble wrap his heart. Bubble wrap his heart, I love that. um, um, and then we have the moon card. In the Spirit Keepers Tarot, I've renamed the moon the necromancer. There's this idea, I like to see it as resurrection of the dead. And I see that for me, it's an easy metaphor. For others, I realize now it's not an easy metaphor for others, or people take it a little too literally, like, oh, she thinks people can resurrect the dead. I do. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Obviously, this is a practical reading about love and relationships. That is a metaphor. I think there's the moon card in classic tarot readings, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of ominous, it's a little foreboding. So I feel like these two people right now, as it stands, unless they get some psychological counseling, unless they get some counseling and some therapy to learn how to work through one another's problems. So I would recommend that. I think you two really, really need counseling. This is not something that you two can work through together. If Lou, if you want to stay with John, you need outside help. Like, you really need outside help. This is not something you can do by yourself. I don't see, you really need like someone to come in and really tell it as it is to John, so he can wake up, and then you two can decide together. You two can decide if you want to stay in this relationship. But to make decisions right now, it's too rash to make decisions and to not give people an opportunity to understand what they're doing wrong and give people an opportunity to cure what they're doing wrong. I don't know. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I've already repeated myself multiple times. I don't think he knows what he's doing, but I don't even know if he can change. Maybe he can change. I mean, I see a lot of that changeling energy from the moon card, so that's a little bit promising. But okay, so in the meantime, safeguard, bubble wrap your heart. You need to really focus on your emotional state. It's really important. It's in a fragile state right now. You want to focus on your feelings and your mental well-being. That's so important. I think Spirit is so worried. Spirit wants to protect you from some of the harms or detrimental effects happening to your emotional well-being. So focus on that. Get psychological counseling for the couple. I really think that's super important. That's going to help navigate the situation. And I think the reason I'm so adamant about this is because I think John, and maybe to be fair, you for John and John for you, like it's a simpatico situation, like this chemistry, this particular chemistry in this current state tends to bring out the worst in each other, or the darker shadow side of one another. Like, you two just inspire the darker shadow side of one another to come out, and that's never healthy. So Whew, big food for thought. Okay, so now we're going to do a career reading for Michael. Michael has a job. Michael doesn't love his job. Michael is feeling super exhausted, super overwhelmed. He feels like it's taking a toll on his emotional well-being, but he can't quit his, like, he needs this job. This is really important. Like, it's almost, unless he can get an equivalent financial, like situation, like a financial offer, or he can get the money somewhere else, new job, new career path. Like, if he can't find a replacement for this job, he can't leave it. That's not an option. And because of that, he feels like he doesn't have any options. So what to do? What does he see? What guidance can spirit offer him about his career? So what guidance can spirit offer Michael about his career path? Um, Try to feel his emotions and weave the emotions into the cards. I'm going to use a significator card this time and do the opening of the four worlds. I'm going to be using the Seeker, key 0, the Seeker as a significator card for Michael. Okay. So now let's see if I can do this so you can follow along. Where I put this. Okay. The Seeker card. Turn of the wheel, though, the Wheel of Fortune card is on top. So I do see destiny turning. Changes are happening in your career path. Looking for the Seeker. Oh, love and relationships looks cute and sweet and nice. Okay. The Keeper. Well, I do think, because remember, so the Keeper card came up. This is not the Seeker. I feel like, Michael actually has a lot of potential to do well in rhetoric, something about speaking, when, how do I say it? Like advocacy, speaking on behalf of others. He's really good at using words to influence, words to command. Okay. Money, the initiate come up. So the initiate I see as a lower register of who he is, because remember we're using the Seeker card as his significator. Okay, so money. So remember, right from the get-go, we talked about how Michael is concerned about money matters, and the Seeker card, the significator, is found in the Earth card pile for money matters and financial. The topmost card is the initiate, so it's the lower self. I think he's making decisions right now out of a place of fear, out of a place of a shadow. So I see the initiate here as a lower register of him, the Keeper as the upper register. So this is what I would say to Michael. Don't rely on tarot cards to make really big, important decisions. I don't. I drink the Kool-Aid. I'm all things spirituality. I believe in crazy, crazy things that people even raise one eyebrow at me for. And yet I would never, ever solely rely on tarot cards to make big, major decisions for my life or for my career. So that's really important. Just because I get a particular message that seems really promising from the tarot, it doesn't mean I'm going to take the leap and do crazy things. I am actually very risk averse as a person. And so that's just something to keep in mind. According to the cards, because you have the Wheel of Fortune, that idea of the fortune turning, destiny turning, the Priestess for me here is about secrecy, in the sense that there's something really big coming on. It kind of has that feeling of um, like a back room, like a back room meeting or back channel arrangement, like back channel arrangements, people behind the scenes controlling things that are on stage, and making decisions for people who don't realize these people behind the scenes are making decisions for them. And so I feel like there's puppet strings, right? And that's actually what I'm getting out of the High Priestess in this specific reading. And for people who are watching this and know the tarot, they're like, oh my God, how are you getting that from the High Priestess? I just am. This is my reading. Get out of here. But that's how I feel, because it's the secrecy, the idea of like somebody who has a lot of control, but is maybe behind the veil, not being visible, not being fully transparent. Okay. And okay, now I'm getting to why I have been kind of teetering like this and saying all this, because according to the cards, if I'm reading the cards strictly and not checking in my biases, you can take a leap of faith. There's this amazing opportunity up ahead. It's more public. It makes you a more public figure. That's because I see the keeper card, the higher self, in the air card pile. Air is like social media. It's politics, human, like that's air energy. You know, for people who know astrology, I always kind of think of house 3 and house 11 matters. Whenever, like, if you think about what does house 3 or house 11 mean in the astrological houses, I tend to impose that concept into the air card pile when I do the opening of the four worlds, among other aspects, depending on how the cards lay out. And so I feel like he can do something really incredible. He can, Michael can work for himself. Michael can be almost like a consult, like an independent contractor type energy. And if he's an independent contractor type energy and he's setting his own schedule, he could make a ton more money. But I know he's worried about security, and that's why that is a huge it's a huge gamble. It's a huge gamble with his financial situation. Um, According to the cards, if he makes a huge, like he takes that kind of gamble with his career, according to the cards, it works out beautifully for him. It works out fortuitously for him. I just worry, okay, because I'm risk averse. Now let's continue the reading. Because the secret card pile is in the fourth, I take the front, put it in the back. The significator is in the front, and then we're going to read this card pile. Put these away. All right. Okay. So what I do is I leave this open and I do the card counting method. Now, if you see these Mayan numerals, that's how you know the number. So when it's a dot, it's the number 1. If it's a line, it's 5. So for example, in the seeker, you see 3 dots. This means 3. And then you can't really see on the video screen, but you know. So for example, the joyous one, well, 10, you know, so you know 10 of cups is 10. But for just to explain how it works, a bar means 5. So there's 2 bars, that's 5 plus 5. So the 10 of chalices equals the number 10. New world order, this is the world card. Here you see a bar plus 4 dots. A bar is 5, 4 dots is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's how you do the number counting. I'm not going to teach how I do the card counting here for the opening of the four worlds, because that will take too long. I already teach it in many places. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 3, 4. Okay, so I landed back on this one, pull this one up, pull this one up, pull this one up. These are the cards that I read. Put these away. The seeker. Now I do read the seeker card because it was counted in the card counting method. The world card came up, and then so these. I hate getting messages like this, because then people do dumb things and like take big risks. And here's the thing, like that's a good thing. I think when we take risks, that's how big risk, big reward. I'm risk averse. I'd rather just not. Michael, so the world card came up. I also see the ivory shield, the Queen of Cups here. So what I would say is, I think you are very persuasive. You have this incredible aura around you. And in this current situation that you're in, because it feels like there's corporate politics involved and you're like a cog in the machine, people are only looking at you to function as the cog in the machine, and people aren't seeing you for your potential. And I know that's such like cliche stuff to say, but if you were an independent contractor, you went into consulting for yourself and you became the consultant that these big firms hire, then when they hire you to be the consultant for them, when they hire your firm, you start your own solo firm of some kind using your skill set. They are looking at you for your creative vision. I'm getting creative vision from the from the Queen of, oh, is it doing it again? Sorry, my computer fell asleep again. Okay, so this is where I'm getting that idea of creative vision that people value you for. I see great success if you do something that is a little more like solo. Like I said, I feel like starting entrepreneurial. Um, Everything I've seen so far tells me that it's a ripe time at this exact moment. Like this is the time and place to catch into that and go solo and start your own business. Better time than ever, to be completely honest. If I'm feeling the energies of the environment around you, it's great time and place. Like, no, there's a time and place for everything, or time is so important, location is so important. All of that's kind of like all of the cards are lining up in the perfect way for you to do this and for you to succeed in this particular way. Five of Swords, just a reminder. I mean, I do see competition. I see a lot of competition in the beginning, but you prevail. I see you succeeding above the competition. And that's the message that I get. I think if you want to find a way out, there is absolutely a way out. It's high risk though. Now taking off my diviner's hat and, reading the cards as is, in terms of me, just in terms of somebody who has done that too, like I worked full time and then I did my own side business. I think there's a time, there's a transition period that you can accept, right? Where you are working full time and doing the part-time stuff and just being more stressful than usual, but it pays off in the long run. And if you're willing to do that, that's one way to lower or reduce the level of risk, especially since I know right now you're making decisions from a place of fear because you're worried about your financial stability. Okay, so take the reading as it is. For those who want to do an I Ching reading in tandem with this type of reading for Michael about his career, if you recall, I pulled 4 cards. What I would do, grab the center 2 cards, pull it up. And if there's a spread of multiple cards, how do I choose 2 for the I Ching reading? Intuition. I lean into how I feel, and it's almost like my hand becomes like a planchette on a Ouija board in a way. Like that's a bad enough. Strike that. You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel I allow something to take over me, occupy me, and tell me exactly which 2 cards in the spread. And usually it's that intuitive decision you make. It's pretty on point. Okay, so the bottom is heaven, lower trigram is heaven, upper trigram is earth. So it's earth over heaven. I take out an I Ching book of changes. In this case, I can use my book of maps, but if you don't have the book of maps, any I Ching book of changes will have that table with the 64 hexagrams and the trigrams up top and the trigrams on the side, the cross-reference table to figure out what earth over heaven is. So let's look up earth over heaven. You'll remember here, earth is for the upper trigram, heaven, lower trigram, earth over heaven. 11, harmony, hexagram 11. Another good sign. Like, I'm so risk averse, but oh, Michael. Okay, so harmony, balance. You are reaching and going beyond yourself. This is progressive. So again, it's this idea of like yourself. If he goes, I just feel like, oh, this is good. This is good. I'm reading it. This is good. That's not me saying it. I'm reading the oracle message. You are willing to take risks for others, even if it might mean losing your own position. Ooh, right? Okay, you negotiate a compromise and observe temperance. Oh, thank God, I Ching. Thank God you mirrored my message, which I just told you. That was me after taking off the diviner's hat. Yeah, temperance. Don't like jump head first, deep dive into something that you don't know. Like why? Especially since it's okay to sometimes operate a little bit from a place of fear because fear is telling you there's danger ahead. So temperance is really good. I think there should be a middle stage, right? A middle stage where you're just doing too much. And then once you've got your solo consulting situation up and running, then you can get rid of the thing that's not working for you. But like, no, don't jump it. You won't regret your decision. Okay, you won't regret your decision. Act according to temperance again, and prosperity shall be attained. Oh, thank gosh. This is mirroring what I told you, my advice to you. The intercourse of heaven and earth, sacred unions, auspicious, at the end yield to the natural course of cycles and changes. Yield to the natural course of cycles and changes was so Wheel of Fortune, wasn't it? Last one, I'm going to say it's just a little bit for fun, but I wanted to show you something that James makes me do for him all of the effing time. So this is the type of reading he's always making me do. He's a financial analyst. He also likes to invest in stocks. And so because he's such a pro in finance and he's a stock guy. He's totally a stock guy. So I don't mind doing tarot readings on stocks for a stock guy. Does that make sense? Because he's not stupid. He's not going to make stupid decisions based on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't mind doing readings on, just like, for example, legal questions. If a lawyer is asking me questions about how a case is going to turn out, I have no problems doing a tarot card reading for a lawyer about a legal matter because I know they're not going to make stupid decisions based on the tarot cards. They're just curious. They're just curious. They just want another perspective. They want to add another, a different kind of insight to their whole package of decision making. So what James likes to ask me to do is financial projections month by month with the tarot cards for him. And I'll show you how I do that. Okay. So right now is October, but it's October 10th is the day today. And basically October just started. So because October just started, I will begin with October. If it was near the end of the month, I would start with November. Personal decision. Okay. So October. I'll show you October, the Herald, the winds, October, November, December. So I'll do until the October, November, December. Okay. So I think technology stocks, high-tech stocks are going to do better this month. I'm getting the swords energy. And then again, here just to explain my reading. Normally if a Herald card shows up, like I said, I'll pull an additional card as a clarifier. Here I can choose that. This is an open invitation to do that. If I wanted to pull a clarifier card, I can or could. In this specific case, I have opted not to. So I'm not going to pull. I'm just going to read the Page of Swords as is. I think high-tech industry, all that kind of thing is October. And then November and December, I'd ask him, like, are you in like health and medicine, like health and medical stocks, I think are going to be doing pretty well. And so those look good. And in terms of stocks overall, I don't see anything crazy. I don't see a huge fall yet. I know people are predicting a crash in the stock market before March 2021. So right now is October 2020. The current going prediction, both astrologically among woo-woo astrologers and people who know the stock market, financial analysts, both on both sides are predicting a crash before spring of 2021. Interesting, huh? But until the end of the year, it seems okay. It seems like James's stock portfolio is going to do pretty well, especially his high-tech stocks this month, and then his medicine, health industry stocks in the next 2 months until the end of the year. That whole crazy crash thing that people are worried about in terms of the stock market, don't see it happening, at least for his portfolio for the rest of this year. And I hope that gives you a sense of how I do very mundane, practical readings with a deck like the Spirit Keeper's Tarot.